We got a jam-packed show today, but not for all the right reasons. Big Deke news. Well, it's the holidays, and it seems only right that Rudolph gets a chance to save the Pittsburgh Steelers Christmas tomorrow. Because it's official, Kenny Pickett has been rolled out, which means, based off what Mike Tomlin said earlier this week, Mason Rudolph will get the start. This is his first time starting for the Steelers since 2021. Week 10, Detroit Lions, we remember that as the dreadful tie game where it was 16-16. Game was a sloppy mess. It was raining. Defense was getting ran on all over the place by the Lions' no-name running backs. Kendrick Green snapping the ball over Mason's head. Damontae's fumbling the ball. It was just a mess of a game. But he did have 242 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And if we could get something in the semblance of that for this game, maybe remove the interception, add another touchdown pass, maybe a QB sneak, 250, 2 touchdowns for Mason, I think all of us would be ecstatic. I just can't believe we're actually at this point in the season where we're relying on QB3 like this. We're relying on Mason Rudolph to get the job done, win us a game. If you would have told me this before the season started, I would have expected us to be 4-10 at this point. But we are 7-7, and if Mason can give us something, win us a game, we still have our playoff hopes alive.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
And a lot of Steeler fans are believing in Mason. Now, I don't know if it's real belief or if it's just that the offense has them down so bad at this point that they feel like anything could possibly be better. I mean, hell, Kenny's injury and Mitch playing so bad got me to the point this week where I'm watching Mason Rudolph highlights on YouTube. And some of them were from 2019, and I'm looking back on it saying, was Mason actually that bad? Or are some of these glimpses, some of these highlights, the real story? Was Mason better than we thought in 2019? It had me going back and forth. I'm like, no, there was definitely a reason we were calling for the duck. Mason was bad. Right? Mason was bad when he got the opportunity to start after Ben got his elbow surgery. Like, no. But then I'm seeing some of these highlights. I'm thinking, all right, maybe Mason's learned a thing or two. Let's see what he can do. I still think Kenny's the best option for us, but hell, I'm not going to be opposed if Mason goes out there and lights it up. Definitely not. But on a quick side note, the Steelers made a roster move yesterday. They released running back Anthony McFarland. I don't have much to say. Moving on. And finally, the last topic for today's show will be Bill Cowher, because yesterday he went on Pat McAfee, and obviously some Steeler questions were brought up. So he discussed what he would do if he was in Mike Tomlin's shoes about the coaching situation, what coaches he would have under him, and what changes he would make, but also what he wants to see from this Steelers offense to get things going.
And right now, the struggle has been on offense all year long. And I think the defense came through early in the season, making some big plays at the end of a game. They had some wins, maybe a false sense of confidence. They're really been no different all year long. It's a team that just has an inability to score points, and the defense feels like there's no margin of error. Can it get turned around? Yeah. I think that you have to sit back when the season's over, is see what you want to do on the offensive side of the ball. Bring in someone who is established, who's going to bring in a system that will get back to what Steeler football is about. If I was them right now, I would be putting whoever they want to put out there, but I had Kenny Pickens under center. Put him under center. You have Najee Harris, who's a downhill runner. He's not a side box car runner. He's not Warren. You see all the big runs, they're downhill. How you like Don?
First down, we need to run downhill down here. Yeah.
But you know what, though? It also sets up the play action. Everything else you want to do, you got a young quarterback. Lean it, and that helps the offensive line. There's nothing that's negative about going back there. Oh, it's old school. We're in a new era of shotgun. No, you're in an era of shotgun if you have a quarterback that can do it. But make him earn the right to do that.
Name the lie that Cowher said here, because I think the dude's spitting facts. For our new offensive coordinator, obviously we need to bring in someone new, someone that's going to get us out of this stale pattern we see from the Steelers offense over the last 3 years. And to me, that means someone under the McVay or Shanahan coaching tree that can come in, take everything that they've learned from McVay and Shanahan, guys that are offensive gurus, and teach it from the top down. They'll bring in new assistants, bring in a whole new system, and implement that, because we do need something fresh. If we are objective, if Tomlin's objective when he sits back this offseason for maybe a week, he'll look back over the last 3 years and just say, yeah, the way we've been doing things ain't it. We need something new. We need something to change. And like Cowher said, sometimes it is just for the sake of change. You saw what the Ravens did, going from Greg Roman to Todd Monken this year. Things have been looking good for them, no? But in terms of what this offense could have done better this last season, or maybe Cowher's even talking about what they still could do for these last 3 games, I don't think he was far off in that assessment either. He's talking about getting under center, running the ball, working some play action in there. And to be fair, if you look back on the end of 2022, what were we doing as an offense? And we were winning games. We went 7-2 for those last 9. And that was essentially it. We were running the football. We had an identity. We were keeping the defense off the field. Kenny was doing some playmaking off the play action, getting in space, running the ball, moving the chain. Like, all that was there. Again, we had an identity, and that's just something we really lacked this season. And I think part of it is due to some of the injuries that we suffered with KP8, because the 2 games I could think of where I felt like we had things going in the right direction was that 4th quarter in the Rams game where we just dominated. We put our stamp on it. And then Kenny gets hurt in the Jaguars game. And then Bengals game, 400 yards, total offense. First game without Matt Canada. It's the best our offense has looked in like the last 2 or 3 seasons. And then all of a sudden, Kenny gets hurt in the following week against the Cardinals. And we just couldn't keep any of the momentum going that it felt like we did have when things were looking good for the offense. So it's just unfortunate, but I don't think Cowher's too far off in his assessment there. But the hot button topic, and this is something that Cowher was also asked about, was George Pickens this week. So here's what he had to say.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, Tone. I think it is disappointing to see and hear what George Pickens talks about, because culture really is about commitment and sacrifice. And, you're not just playing with one another, you're playing for one another. And no, I could never imagine a player at all not performing and giving everything, because to me, it's all about effort. We're going to make mistakes. I get it, and sometimes we don't make the right call. But the one thing that should never be questioned is your effort and your ability to be there for your teammate, picking somebody up. So that is very bothersome. I think there's got to be consequences to that. And so we'll see what happens with it. And he's going to be held accountable, because you have to have accountability. And you don't do anything and there's no consequence to the choice that he made, now you're losing accountability.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to this Pickens conversation, because everything that's been out there, everything that's already been said about his lack of effort is valid. So I think I'll just leave you guys with the Jaylen Warren quotes and how he responded to seeing Pickens' lack of effort on his almost touchdown run. Says, I see where he's coming from. It is what it is. At the end of the day, he was doing what he thought was best for him. Some people play the game differently. If I was in that position, I would have blocked for him. But we play differently. So now it's not only media, fans, former players, former Steelers, and coaches calling you out for your lack of effort, but now it's even teammates. Not a good look, but we'll see how Pickens responds, because he hasn't been benched yet. Tomlin said he will be playing in this upcoming Bengals game. So hopefully this was his final wake-up call. But let me know what you guys think about the topics discussed on today's show down in the comments. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Stay chilling, and peace.